Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 15th. It's March. It's 2026. And this is going to be a long video, but I'm trying to get a point across here. So many people that I know that are quote unquote awake and aware of things that are going on, they don't seem to understand that this war isn't Iraq. This isn't Afghanistan. This isn't far away and not going to touch us in any way whatsoever at all. This war is Israel using Trump as the second Cyrus. Trump is an Antichrist. He's not the ultimate Antichrist, but he is still an Antichrist, in my opinion, and he's being used as such. He's not making bad political decisions. He's not making bad military decisions. He isn't selling out. He belonged to Israel from day one. I told you this back in 2016, man. 2016, and I'll prove that to you. But this war is being waged specifically to destroy America, to destroy our country, not down the road, now. This is happening now, and people don't seem to understand it. It's just, it's another war, no big deal. Television told me that we're kicking their ass and Iran can't do anything. Iran is doing what Iran does. But here's the one thing to remember. Iran also shut down their country during COVID, which means they're part of the New World Order. So they're playing their part, okay? But Israel is using our country to bring back their Mashiach by October 4th, 2027. That's close, okay? That's close. But the effects before the Mashiach can return, we got to be destroyed. Do you even understand this? Is this coming through? Do you get this? This isn't Iraq. This is going to hit us every single solitary day. It's going to hit us in no gas, no food, no anything. Do you see what I'm saying? The Straits of Hormuz being shut. In a real world with our military, we could have went there and silently took the Straits of Hormuz and then attacked Iran. But we didn't. We didn't because they want this. Israel wants to be America. They want to be a superpower. And it's not happening down the road. It's happening right now. And you need to act accordingly. Or don't. Go watch the mainstream. Go listen to right-wing people and blah, blah, blah. Go fight about this, that, and the other thing. But this is happening now. And it's been a long time coming. At any rate, here we go.
And I believe we all recognize the fact that we will reach to the kingdom. We will make it to the return of the Messiah, but this will not happen next Thursday. The lives of nations is always precarious and surrounded with threats. Our survival, our endurance is a result of alliances that we forge.
There's unprecedented coordination between Israel and the U.S. and achieved substantial achievements that are changing the reality in the West Bank, in the Middle East and beyond. These achievements are increasing the status of Israel as a superpower more than ever. Through our power in opposition to the power of our enemies, this is what is ensuring our survival. Our threats come and go, but when we become a regional superpower, and in many respects a global superpower, we have the power to push away threats and ensure our future.
Right. So
the video you're about to see, I posted in 2017. 2017. I've been trying to ring this bell, and now it's happening. That's why they had to put Trump back in office. So understand that, or don't.
Trump upset victory divinely sent to begin messianic process, say Israeli rabbis, right?
Before the 2016 presidential election, some evangelical Christians began comparing Donald Trump to King Cyrus, the biblical king who's credited with allowing Jews to return to Jerusalem from exile in the Babylonian Empire. The idea behind the comparison is that a non-believing leader can be used by God to enact policies that help advance the interest of believers, in this case, Christians and Jews.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
Donald Trump recognized history. He, like King Cyrus before him, fulfilled the biblical prophecy of the gods worshipped by Jews, Christians, and yes, Muslims, that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of the Jewish state.
I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
I think President Trump has made history. This will be remembered the way we remember the Cyrus Declaration from 2,500 years ago when he told the exiles of Babylon, you can go back and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This is a historic moment, and we will always remember it.
Yeah, we'll always remember it too, because I posted this in 2017, and guess what? What I was postulating about back then is happening right this moment. Americans are too used to war. We've been at war my entire lifetime. But this war is the hubris of Trump and the Israeli people believing that they can force the return of the Mashiach, which is the Antichrist. This is happening now, and the ramifications that are going to hit home have already begun, but they are simply going to worse, and Israel is going to destroy us, and Trump is allowing it. He's not sold out. He's one of them.
Jewish people are commanded to destroy the enemies of our people in all times, in all places, as happened, as described in detail in Megillat Esther, in the book of Esther, where we find that 75,811 of our enemies were destroyed, including women and children. Why did this take place? Why were so many people killed? Why were women and children killed? But the answer is very simple. Straightforward. Perhaps it is not politically correct in the eyes of some, but it is the true, authentic, and absolutely essential message of Purim, and it is the central truth of that. It is rather commemorating and remembering a past event in order that we know how to behave today in the present and in the future. Amalek still exists. We read every year, before Purim, we read Parashat Zachor, where we are commanded by Hashem to remember that which Amalek did to us and to destroy them.
Right. So I actually don't say the real power base is Israel. What I say is that the real power base are a collection of secret societies that have an eschatological view of this war. And these secret societies include the Freemasons, which are now called the Rosicrucians and the Knights Templars. They include Jewish organizations called the Sephardim Frankists, who are embedded in religious movements called Shabbat Lubavitch. And then you have the Jesuits. You have a collection of secret societies. And they believe that a war in the Middle East would start a process that would culminate in the end times and the return of Jesus, the arrival of the Jewish Messiah, the building of a one world government. They have different eschatologies, but a lot of their time frames do align. So where they converge is that there has to be a war in the Middle East to kick things off. This war in the Middle East will lead to the defeat of the American Empire, and this will lead to the culmination of the Greater Israel Project, where Israel is able to control the Middle East from the Nile to the Euphrates. Once the Greater Israel Project is in place, it will transform into the Pax Judaica, which is an AI surveillance state. This will eventually lead to the war of Gog and Magog, the destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the building of the Third Temple, the return of the Jewish diaspora to Jerusalem, and the arrival of the Jewish Messiah or the Antichrist.
While speaking at a public rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, Trump was supposedly shot in the ear by a would-be assassin. A photographer captured this moment of Trump rising defiantly before all the world with a bloodied ear. This assassination attempt, however, was actually Trump's global initiation as Shabbat's loyal bondservant, the Messiah ben Joseph, otherwise known as the Forerunner. Trump, like Cyrus the Great before him, would be the non-Jewish Messiah, obtaining riches, subduing nations, and pursuing titles of greatness, who will conquer the enemies of the Jews so that they can destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque and rebuild the temple. And if you remember, in Trump's first term, he broke with tradition and moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing it as the capital of Israel. He assassinated Qasem Soleimani during his first term, and he was the one who greenlit the Pentagon's active planning phase for this war we are currently watching years before it officially kicked off.
Current non-Jewish Messiah was chosen to be of service to the Jewish people and the Jewish Messiah. President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago. We have clarified in several videos that the absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5787, which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027. Thus, the redemption will surely occur during Donald Trump's tenure. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Esav through offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem. Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David, 424. However, Donald Trump is mistaken if he thinks he was chosen to make America great again. But America will never become a great country on its own, because Esav's days are numbered. All our elite institutions and centers of power and influence are rotten through and through. The majority of Americans under 30 who are college educated and who are the future leaders of America support the vicious monsters of Hamas rather than the holy and courageous soldiers of the IDF. No human being, even Donald Trump, can reverse this. No, the greatness of America does not lie in its own success. America will be great when the Messiah comes, and the leader of this country, on behalf of all the good people in this country, will humbly present himself to the Jewish Messiah and ask him to accept the United States of America into a new alliance of countries who accept the leadership of the Messiah. A new United Nations will replace the current cesspool that goes by that fraudulent name. A real United Nations, united to serve God, led by the Messiah and based in Jerusalem. And my feeling is that the United States under President Trump will be the first nation to join.
So why am I showing Trump getting shot in the ear over and over again? Why am I showing the same Jewish rabbi explaining exactly what the initiation ritual is? Because people aren't seeing this for what it is. People should be in the streets demonstrating, protesting. Pitchforks and torch time is now. Because Trump is allowing our entire economy to get destroyed right now. This isn't the usual. This isn't, oh, we took out El Mencho. Oh, we took the guy from Venezuela. Oh, we're going after Cuba. Oh, we just went to Ecuador. This is a plan by the Jewish people to bring out the Antichrist. And they're doing it right now. By this time next week, gas prices will probably be double, which will effectively kill me in the water. You know what I mean? But I knew this day was coming. I didn't realize that Trump was actually going to do this when he pulled off this whole Iran thing. It didn't dawn on me till I started looking at it militarily and talking to other people that are actually in right now. The military doesn't want to do this. The military should not do this. Take the article, I forget. I'm an idiot. Article 15. Because you're fighting a war to allow these guys to bring about the Antichrist. Do you see what I'm saying? Everything that happened with Biden was by design, so people would be like, Trump, bring in Trump. They're going to put us underneath the Palantir system. I mean, you and I are going to be gone. We're going to be gone. We can't be around. We won't play nice. We didn't take the vaccines. They know that we're not going to play ball. But this is insane, and it's happening right now, and I need people to understand. Everything else in your life right now doesn't really matter anymore because this is happening. And it's going to happen so rapidly, it's going to be insane. It actually is insane. Oh, it's a couple-day war. We're in week 3. and their military is lying about how many soldiers we've lost so far. Someone questioned my patriotism. Are you shitting me? How come you're not doing this? How come you're not warning people and backing up your words with the actual words of the people that are perpetrating this crime against humanity right now for free? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not telling you to like, share, and subscribe so that we can get a bigger channel. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters anymore. These assholes in Israel using Trump and our military are trying to bring about the Antichrist in what? A little over 18 months? But we're going to be feeling the effects. We're going to be smoked. Not 3 months from now, week by week, day by day. And it's already begun. So be aware. Or don't. Just ignore it and go watch some kitten videos or whatever. I don't know.
That is a Trump Cyrus coin. That's what that is in my hand. This is a third temple. That's what the image is that is on the back of this coin. And you have Trump and Cyrus. A lot of people said these coins were actually a conspiracy. These didn't even exist. These are literal coins minted in Israel. This is a half shekel. It contains, I believe, 10 grams of silver, which is by the book. By the book, what that would be by Levitical law, what this coin would need to contain. This is what you would pay as the temple tax. It would be a half shekel.
It was minted by the Institute for Knowledge of the Temple, and it has a picture of King Cyrus in the background, who was very influential in the rebuilding of the temple, the second temple. It has President Trump in the foreground, and on the back it has a picture of the temple itself. We hope that the declarations of both Cyrus and Trump will lead to the rebuilding of the third temple.
When is the building?
Very soon. We've already started.
Yeah?
Yes.
And when it's due to be completed?
That depends on how fast the workers work and how quickly we can collect the money from the treasury.
President Trump is starting a prophetic process by moving the American embassy to Jerusalem. Just like King Cyrus 2,500 years ago said, he charged me to build a house in Jerusalem. Here again, President Trump is building a house in Jerusalem.
Donald Trump sent Iranians who are the descendants of Persia a message to reflect on their own history, and that it was the king of Persia who 1,000 years before Muhammad was even born that said Jerusalem was the capital of the Jewish people's country.
We are very happy to announce that the Mikdash Educational Center just produced a new Cyrus Trump temple coin. This special coin was produced and minted for the 70 years of the independence of the State of Israel, and to honor and praise President Donald Trump, who promised, but not only promised, also fulfilled this promise. And next week, we'll move the American embassy to Jerusalem.
Do you really consider the embassy move as just one step in the direction of building the temple?
It's a huge step. It's not just a step. It's a huge step because it is a step that is bringing together the biblical narrative, the narrative of Esav and Yaakov, the two brothers that were split thousands of years ago are now being brought together again, and this is all part of the biblical narrative. We believe that this is a huge step to the recognition of Jerusalem, of Israel, and the rebuilding of our third temple.
This is the coin of a new beginning, a third temple.
Okay. Wow. Trump and Cyrus again. Trump and Cyrus. Okay. Okay, these are what I want. All right. This is the Mikdash here. Okay, what does that mean, the Mikdash? Can you tell me? Tell me, it's for the third temple. Okay, that's the third temple. That's
what this is. And I think we've made arrangements with these folks. I've got a limited number of these. We're going to put some of them up.
From these donations are going to be used for the rebuilding and education of the third temple. The temple belongs to everybody, to the Jewish nation, but also to the whole world. In 3 languages, in Hebrew, in English, and in Arabic. So we're starting with the people of Israel, we're starting maybe with the Trump base, but I'm sure that maybe through Trump, everybody will understand not how Donald Trump is important, but how important Jerusalem and the temple is for the whole world.
Yeah, bringing back the Antichrist, bringing forth the Antichrist. That's what Trump is trying to do. That's what Israel's trying to do. And it's not happening. It's happening now. It's underway right now. And Americans just see this as another day in the life because we're always at war. And it explains why we're always at war, because it conditioned people to just think about something that was happening far, far away. I posted this information back in 2017. And now it's actually happening. Not even 10 years later, it's actually happening right now. And I can't stress this enough. You need to act accordingly. Nothing matters. Nothing's going to turn this thing around. The only thing that's going to happen is this is going to escalate into a world war, bringing China and Russia into it full blast, because everybody has to play their part. Or they wouldn't have played their part during COVID, which they all did. Don't forget that. Iran knows what it's doing. The state of Israel is getting smoked right now by Iranian missiles, and they're covering it up completely, 100%. But understand this now. If you've ever prepared more than you've ever prepared in your life. Do everything you possibly can. Nothing else matters. This is not fair porn. I am not fair mongering. I'm pointing out the facts. And if you don't want to see them, I don't know what to tell you anymore. I've done my part. Richie from Boston. I'm out.
Destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I
for
haven't
that strike?
seen it. And I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries. But that's being investigated right now.
President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
We think it was done. We think it was done by Iran.
Can you give us an idea?
Because they're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran.
A new report says that the military investigation has found that the United States struck the school in Iran. As Commander-in-Chief, do you take responsibility for that?
That is what?
As Commander-in-Chief, do you...
For what?
For the strike on the school in Iran. A new report says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about it.
How could he not know about it?
Well, in a press conference, Trump declared that Iran had potentially acquired a U.S. Tomahawk missile and used it to bomb its own school for unspecified reasons. So that's the level he's operating at. It's completely implausible. Trump is contradicting the U.S. military now, which through its own investigation has confirmed that the U.S. struck this school. The Washington Post is now reporting, citing military sources, that school in Minab, a girls' school, was on the U.S. target list, which raises further questions. How did it get on the U.S. target list? Through the AI targeting system, which is Palantir's Maven system, which is being combined with Anthropic's Claude to generate targets and to track the targets through pattern of life and other AI capabilities.
This is Maven Smart System, Palantir's software as a service product that we are deploying across the entire department. As you can see, it's not just one data feed, it's multiple. And instead of having 8 or 9 systems for those decision makers to look at every single day in order for them to make decisions. You then fuse it into a single visualization tool. The single visualization tool allows you to select, deselect different types of data, look at different approaches to data, but more importantly, action from the same system that you're trying to develop your workflows around. Once you have a detection that you want to actually move into a targeting workflow, for example, this is what we do. Left click, right click, left click, magically, it becomes a detection. That detection then gets moved into a workflow. This is standard digitized workflow, but I want to walk you through it quickly. You have different types of targets that are identified on the left there. Every single column produces a different type of decision-making process. Once you have that decision and you're trying to actually action that process, we now move into COA generation, course of action generation, where we are automatically, via a number of factors, trying to identify what the best asset to prosecute a target looks like.
In other words, was this target generated by a computer and then enacted by U.S. troops who are just following orders to carry out one of the great atrocities of our time? And I think the answer is yes. And I'll tell you why. If you look at a lot of the other targets that are being generated, they don't make any sense. There's a park in Tehran called Police Park, and it was bombed. And it suggests that when the U.S. military and the national security apparatus decided we're going to bomb police stations in Tehran because when we do that, there will be disorder and the people will rise up and then they'll bring regime change in and then we're going to get the Persian Delcy Rodriguez to hand over the oil. Once they decided to bomb police stations, they just told the AI Skynet system, generate targets, police park, and then they bomb a public park just simply because it says police. So they are doing exactly what the Israelis did during the Gaza genocide when they used this so-called gospel system, including an element known as Where's Daddy, to determine whether families were affiliated with Hamas, and then they would liquidate the entire family, sometimes 30 people at a time, bombing their homes when Daddy was there. They're just replicating that model, the Israeli genocide model in Iran. The Iranian Committee on the Red Cross has now declared that over 17,000 residential buildings have been hit, and that accounts for the vast majority of targets attacked by the Israeli-US coalition. So this is a war of terror on the Iranian people being directed by AI systems and carried out by US service members who are just following Trump's orders. And Donald Trump is evading responsibility for one of the great crimes of the century.
So what do you think about the use of artificial intelligence or lavender by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets? And secondly, do you agree with Elon Musk about that the population decline is a risk for humanity?
Look, I'm not, without going into all the I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel. It's not for us to second guess everything, and I believe that broadly the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right, and that's sort of the perspective I come back to. And if I fall into the trap of arguing you on every detailed point, I would actually be conceding the broader issue that the Middle East should be micromanaged from Cambridge, and I think that's just simply absurd. And so I'm not going to concede that point.
At Chris Wright or someone close to him had placed a put on the price of Brent crude because they're moving markets with these statements. Then a few hours later, he deletes the tweet and the price goes back up again. It looks like he's just moving markets to make money. And then today, Donald Trump comes out, and you can put this tweet on screen, and declares, the United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far. So when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. Who is we? We is not the American people. It's not the working class. It's not American soldiers who are going off to die for Israel. It's Donald Trump and his cronies. It's the Epstein class. And this is proof that this is the most corrupt administration in American history. They make Hunter Biden look like Ralph Nader.
Trump should say this to the average blue-collar guy trying to pick up his pickup truck, paying $4.99 already a gallon for diesel.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers.
We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary, short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short term.
Short-term.
Short-term.
Short-term. Short-term and long-term.
Short-term blip.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain. Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefit.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
This is a long-term gain because what we want to do is get such massive oil reserves in Iran out of the hands of terrorists. And so what we're going to experience here in the short term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefit, because ultimately we're not going to have to worry about these issues in the Strait of Hormuz, because we're going to get all of the oil out of the hands of terrorists.
When this regime goes down, we're going to have a new Mideast. We're going to make a ton of money. We're going to make a ton of money. Nobody will threaten the Straits of Hormuz again. All the anti-Semitites to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump who I think is Ronald Reagan plus.